About 48 million people in the U.S. have hearing loss, but only 1 in 5 who could benefit from a hearing aid actually use one. The Hearing Loss Association of America anticipates over-the-counter hearing aids may be available in stores by the end of this year, following years of delays after legislation was passed in 2017. Thanks for joining us for this week's Health News You Can Use. I'm Lindsay Stish. This week, during Better Hearing and Speech Month, we're talking about what audiologists want you to know before buying over-the-counter hearing aids, the impact of unaddressed hearing loss over time, and hearing loss prevention. With me today is Kristy Kurtz. She's an audiologist at St. Luke's North Hospital. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Kristy, over-the-counter hearing aids aren't a good fit for everyone. Who can benefit from over-the-counter hearing aids, and what do you want people to know before going and buying one?
Right. So what we do know about over-the-counter hearing aids is that they will be appropriate for a mild to moderate hearing loss, maybe not appropriate for a more moderate to severe or severe to profound hearing loss. So there is a configuration of hearing loss that it will meet. They will most likely be a one-size-fits-all. So some ears may not be comfortable in some ears, depending on the size, because that's part of a fitting process. So when it's one size, we're not all made alike. It's always important to see a professional first to determine your needs for your hearing loss, to know what it is that is appropriate for hearing. I think there's also a perception of over-the-counter hearing aids that the cost may be less expensive than a traditional hearing aid, which might not be true. There are some entry-level hearing devices that can be programmed that may be very comparable to costs with over-the-counter hearing aids.
Good to know. So what are the early signs of hearing loss that should prompt someone to see an audiologist?
Well, sure. So common things that we hear are difficulty hearing when there's competing noise going on in the background. You go to a restaurant and it's difficult to hear your server. The TV is louder at home than what your family and friends would like to have it. And just generally asking what or often in conversations that you're missing some things.
Now, people wait an average of 7 years before seeking help for hearing loss. What's the impact of unaddressed hearing loss over time?
So we do know that there can be some cognitive implications of hearing loss that's not treated. There was a study that was done by Johns Hopkins, and they looked at hearing loss over 12 years and studied the risk of dementia associated with hearing loss, and found that it's even with a mild hearing loss, you're 2 times as more likely to develop dementia. Depression and withdrawal and isolation are some effects of untreated hearing loss. I think that maybe what to know is that if you notice a loved one that's withdrawing or not engaged, that's an indication that it's time to get a hearing test. Let's just make sure there's not an underlying hearing loss present causing some of those symptoms.
So what are the best ways to prevent hearing loss?
So typically, we're all familiar with the foam insert earplugs. So when you're around loud noise, even mowing the lawn, for example, you should think about wearing earplugs. We know that we're seeing hearing loss much younger. Adults in their 30s and 40s even, we've seen noise-induced hearing loss, and a lot of that is from listening to our music too loud. And a general rule of thumb is that we're not opposed to those earphones. You can listen to your music, but you should be able to hear average conversational speech over the top of your music. We know average conversational speech is around 65 decibels. If your music is louder than that and you can't hear my voice, you should turn it down.
Okay, that's great to know. What else is new in hearing loss treatment or even on the horizon?
Sure. So rechargeable hearing aids are pretty commonplace now. They've been out for a few years, so we don't have to fuss with our batteries anymore. You can literally plug in your hearing aids just like we do our smartphones. Bluetooth technology is integrated into all hearing aids today. So Bluetooth in your hearing aids allows you to connect to your smartphone for adjustments. You can also connect to other Bluetooth devices in your home. So that's exciting. And then I think what's good to know too is that hearing aid companies are really using AI technology, artificial intelligence, in forming their algorithms now. So one device, for example, uses an app that does real world adjustments. You can adjust your hearing aids based on real life in the moment type adjustments. So I think in the future, hearing aid companies are going to look to develop that technology further. So for example, if you're running or jogging outside, your hearing aids will detect not only the sound but also the movement of your activity and make personalized adjustments in real time.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
To schedule a hearing test or to find out more about treatment options, visit stlukeskc.org/ENT. You can also stay up to date with all the latest health news and patient stories from St. Luke's at stlukeskc.org/news. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time on Health News You Can Use.